To welcome you all here today for this Zoom webinar as we continue to do things this way. We've been doing it for the last year, so why should today be any different? But we certainly would love to do this in person, but such is the world we live in today. Hayes is a very important partner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, so it's my honor on behalf of the Lightning to welcome all of you, clients from wherever you're logging into today. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk a little bit of hockey, but we're also going to talk about how the two worlds in which you both operate in kind of collide and the parallels between the two. Our guest speaker today is a professional hockey player, and a lot of the attributes and skill sets that he brought to the table to get to where he is can be attributed and also contrasted to what you do in the business world as well to succeed. So without further ado, allow me to introduce a man who is a Stanley Cup champion, Yanni Gourde, forward for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hi, Yanni. How are you?
Hi, very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Joining us from Columbus, Ohio, where the Lightning are playing. The Columbus Blue Jackets played last night, and they're going to play again tomorrow night. We're not going to get into too much heavy-duty hockey talk here, Yanni, but I will ask you off the top here, for those who may not know, the players in the NHL and the NHL itself worked very hard to come together to get this season underway. They started middle of January, compressed regular season, shortened schedule, which means you guys are playing almost every second night. So we appreciate your time today. How has that been? It's been very taxing physically and mentally. How have you handled it, you and your teammates?
It's been, yes, it has been quite a different year so far than what we're used to have. Obviously, we play every other day. At the beginning of the year, there was a few outbreak in a few teams, so it kind of pushed off. Like we had kind of off week here and there, and like now we're kind of catching up. So there's a lot of it's like you said, we play mostly every other day, and it's hard on the body. It feels like playoffs sometimes. So, cause like playoffs are, there's a lot of games like this where you play, 2 games in a row in the same city, and then you come back home and then play the same team over. So it has that, playoff feel a little bit too. And, but mentally, I mean, it's not bad. Obviously we have such a great group of guys here in Tampa. So it's always fun to hang out with the boys on the road, so we keep entertaining ourselves that way.
So the physical part is a little bit more challenging than the mental side of it, right?
Yeah, probably, yes.
All right. Before we kind of get going here and talking about a few different ideas that I had here, I want to let everybody know that's watching here on the webinar that please submit some questions if you would like in the Q&A section. They'll be forwarded to Yanni and I via the chat, and we'll integrate a couple of questions as we go along. But I think you are a perfect guest here today, Yanni, because in the business world, we've all heard that story or maybe seen the movie or read the book of that person, that man or woman that rose through the ranks, started at the very bottom, started the mailroom, and ended up being the president or the CEO. Well, folks, for those of you who don't know, Yanni, and please don't take this the wrong way, Yanni, I mean this is the ultimate compliment. Yanni is the hockey equivalent of that. He was never drafted in the National Hockey League, and he went from being an undrafted player, slugging it out in the pros, not playing in the full-time National Hockey League until age 25, to being a Stanley Cup champion and a key player on a very good Stanley Cup championship team. So I'd like to talk to you about goal setting. Goal setting is something that I think can relate to both worlds here. When did you decide that you wanted to be one of the top 700 men in the world to play in the National Hockey League, and how did you maintain your focus on that goal?
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever said I wanted to be. Well, I always wanted to be an NHL player. Obviously, growing up, that's where you look up to, like those guys that are playing in the National Hockey League. Those guys are your idols. You look at them. You try to mimic what they do on the ice. So they were always like my idols growing up. But like as years went on, I obviously had some obstacle facing me, so I obviously a smaller guy, so got caught a few times. Didn't make it. It took me a while to be able to play at an elite level. And then when I was in the American Hockey League, I was I was okay with that. Like I didn't think there was anything more to Yanni Gourde than playing in the American Hockey League and just try to be a good player in that league and try to uh, like that's basically my mindset since I was younger. Like just trying to get better every single day, and that really was the key for my success. I think. Like if we can go back to junior, where my first year I was just like so happy to be there. I was like, oh my god, like I made a junior hockey team, and like I'm playing on that team. Like not many people from my area are doing that, so I was like so proud of myself. And then just as years goes on, I was always trying to get better and better, and I was pushing myself to, hey, this year I want to be a good player in this league, and this year I want to be the best player in this league, and the next year I want to play at the American hockey level, and the next year I was like, I want to be steady, I want to be a solid player, a solid two-way center, or those were my goals, and then each year I kind of was taking step forward, and that's really what got me to the NHL is just one step at a time. I never looked too far ahead because like I didn't want to be I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself, and I didn't want to have my dream crushed because I was setting goals that weren't realistic at the time. So I wasn't when I was in the American hockey, I wasn't really thinking about the NHL. I was like, hopefully I can get a game one like at some point, but I wasn't thinking I was going to make an impact in the National Hockey League as a third line center in the Stanley Cup final. And here I was last year, like, things worked well and I was there and it was phenomenal experience. And like I said, I think it was just like, it was just me trying to get better every single day. And that's how I created my success, I guess.
What an amazing lesson. That it really is interesting to hear you say that because you're right. 700 men are from around the world play in the National Hockey League. And to say, oh, I want to be one of those guys right off the start is a daunting task. It's a great lesson that you just took it step by step and gradually built towards where you are now. But that also comes with, skill development. And, in the regular world, business world, my world, your world, you have to develop your skills. Right? Maybe in the business world, you're reading, you're taking courses, you're taking seminars, you're doing things like this. So I imagine that's part of the process too, recognizing where your strengths and weaknesses are and honing those as you go along.
Absolutely. I think it was a big it's been a big part of my journey too, trying to like I said, I'll mention that a lot, but trying to get better. Know what your weakness are. Look at video, do session, work with coaches. Like I've done so much work over the year after practice, before practice, during the off season, trying to work better, like be better in those area where I think I could be better, and also keep working on my strength and my skating, my shooting skills. So all those area I was always trying to get better, and like you do that work while most of the time while no one is watching. You do that work at home when you're by yourself and sticking in the garage and or lifting weight because you want to get stronger in the corner. So it is like I said, most of the work you do when no one is watching, and that's really where I think like most successful people get that from their success.
Isn't that the truth? Adversity. You said on your journey you had obstacles. You said you weren't I can say this, we're the same height and all that stuff, so it's
Yeah.
fine. But you were the biggest guy. You were probably told many, many times, oh, hey, so thanks for coming or whatever. Obstacles, adversity. It happens in the real world too. You don't get that promotion. You don't get that assignment. You don't get that break that you're looking for. How do you keep going? How do you keep coming back with the fight?
Honestly, to me, adversity kind of when someone told me I wasn't good enough or I was too small, it was almost like I wanted them, I wanted to prove them so wrong that I was willing to put double the extra work in just to prove them very capable and very willing to to play in that league or be a difference maker in that league or be a solid player in that league. Everyone doubted me so much throughout my career that it was kind of a chip on my shoulder every single time I stepped on the ice. I'm doing that for myself, but I'm also doing that because I want to prove and you wrong. And that's kind of the mentality I had growing up too as well. And I think that started at a very young age. I don't know. I've always had that competitiveness where I wanted to be the best player. I wanted to be the best, and I wanted to prove everybody that I was prove everybody wrong, and that I was very capable of doing what they thought I wasn't able to. So
Everything that you talked about here, about this journey and about proving everybody wrong, the chip in the shoulder, did all of this kind of rush through your mind as you hoisted the Stanley Cup in the bubble in Edmonton last year?
yeah, probably. I mean, it was one of the greatest feeling I've ever experienced in my life. Lifting that cup, alongside of all the guys next to me. Like, it was such a journey last year, such a, like, being in the bubble for 65 days, and sacrificing so much, and so did the family, but, um, all, all the guys in the bubble together, to be able to do that, it was one of the greatest moment in my life. And yes, it was a special feeling knowing that how far I've come, and I was raising that cup over my head, and yeah, it was extra special.
We'll get to work-life balance in a minute here. I'd like to integrate a question from our Q&A section. This one's, Yanni, from Philip Simonson. While we're talking about goal setting, he says that, and this is maybe a question for the end of it, so we're not quite done yet, but do you have goals for yourself once you retire? Have you thought that far ahead?
Not really. I'm really focused on today, and what I can do better today, and what I can, like, I'm really focused on my hockey career right now, so I haven't really put any like that many thoughts into what's coming after my hockey career. But so no, that's I haven't gone that far yet.
Okay, fair enough. And well said. You're right. You got to stick with what's working for you right now. You got another cup to win. I'd like to talk to you about teamwork and chemistry. You have played, as you mentioned, at all different levels now: junior, American League, pro, NHL. Now you played on a lot of teams that were successful, and many teams, I'm sure, that really weren't successful for lots of different reasons. So I'd like you to speak to how important and how elusive chemistry can be, and teamwork, and how important that is to overall success, both personal and as a group.
Absolutely. I think teamwork is so important in so many facets of, like, life. Like, teamwork in hockey. I mean, you can have the best player in the world together, but if they don't work together, if they don't have the chemistry, if they don't talk to one another, or they don't have that bond, uh, like, it might not work. And that's why, like, teamwork, communication, those are big things, and that you have to be, you have to work on, and you have to put the effort in to make sure everybody's on board. And obviously leadership comes along with teamwork, and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that last year we were phenomenal at. This, like, we had such a great bond, and so is this year. I mean, we're such a tight group of people in our locker room. It makes it so much easier when we go on the ice, and we try to play with one another. We have the uh, we're we're all friends, and we want the best for one another, and we're willing to put, like, tell one another what's wrong, or what to improve on, because we know as a team we're gonna grow by doing that. If that makes any sense.
Well, it makes perfect sense. And that's a really sensitive thing. If you don't have the right mix of guys, right, that can be a house of cards. You guys will say, well, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden egos get involved, and things kind of crumble from there. But it's, there's a, so you mentioned leadership. I guess that brings really things into focus. Who are the leaders in the room? And in your mind, what makes a good leader in a group?
Well, in our group, there's a lot of leaders. There's vocal leader. There's guys that just go on the ice and do the work, and just these guys that just go on the ice and bear down and do the work, and like these guys are the one that like the next shift you're gonna follow and you're gonna be like, oh my god, like I'm I'm gonna go on the ice and do the same thing as he just did, and so like there's multiple like kind of leaders that work in different area. Obviously, Stammer is a phenomenal leader. He has been doing that since he got in the league, and he's so good at it. He's such a vocal person in the room, and he also puts in the work in on the ice. So guys like that, Victor Edmond, Vazzy's a great leader because he gets on the ice, he works his all the time his bag off, and that's just like that's just how he is as a person, and he drags people to the fight with him because he does that. And so like I can go on the list, and there's so many leader on the team, but that's I think that's what a leader is something that someone that just goes and do it, and there's also different leader that just speak up and in the right time and says the right words.
On successful teams, in successful businesses, successful groups, there's guys who have kind of been there, done that before. So last year you added a guy by the name of Pat Maroon, who comes in. This is a teammate of yours, a sometimes line mate of yours. And I got a question here from Luke Widbin. And Yanni Luke says, Pat Maroon's a teammate and sometimes a line mate. What skill and or personality trait have you noticed of his coming to the organization and having an impact? And for those who don't know, Pat Maroon came to the Lightning after winning the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. He comes into this group, and he's a big part of that as culture as well. So
Yeah.
what have you noticed that he brought to the table?
He brings people together. He's a great leadership that way. Like you don't want to have a different cliques in a group like a hockey team. You want everyone to be on the same page, everyone to do things together, and that's what he brings. He's a vocal guy in the room, and like he just brings people together, and that's a big part of being a leader is like if you're gonna say something but most people aren't gonna listen, then there's no point of saying it, right? But when a guy like Pat Maroon is gonna say something, everyone is listening, and he brings people together, and that's a big part of how his leadership role is on the team.
You can't, like you said, you can have the best player in the world, you can have the best manager in the world, but they can't do it alone. It's the collective, right? It's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any more questions, please send them in on the chat group, and we'll get to them as we go along here. And I got a couple here that I will get to. I want to ask you about something that was you brought up, work-life balance, because that's important in both worlds too. You play under normal circumstances an 82 game regular season, 41 of which are on the road, long road trips, a lot of time away from your friends and family, and your family at home, your direct family, and that's a big part of your support system. There's a question here from a person there. Oh, it's from Haley Hill. And it said, Yanni, back in 2018, you and your wife Marie welcomed your daughter into the world during the middle of the playoffs. What was the experience like being in the delivery room one moment and on the ice playing a playoff game the next?
Very special. I mean, that's like when like earlier, we were talking about special moment in my life. I mean, the birth of my daughter was definitely probably the most special moment I've experienced, and it was so so humbling, and it's such a great experience, and yeah, the whole like so we went in after game two of Boston, and then Emma was born the next day, and then so we stayed over that night, and then the next day I flew in at 6 a.m. from Tampa to Boston, and I was on the ice at night playing the Bruins. So it was quite a turnaround from the moment she was born to being on the ice with the boys battling the Bruins. So, but again, like this is the way, this is our life. We play hockey. We have great family support. My wife is phenomenal. She understood what it was like, what was like what it was going on, what was going on, right? She knew that um that hockey, the first of all, the birth of my daughter was priority. But once everyone was settled and everyone was okay and things were good, that obviously she gave me a nod and go on the road and go win that game and come back. So it was pretty much it. And I mean our wives are phenomenal, and the fact that we're spending so much time on the road, and they keep the family together. It's amazing what they do.
I was going to say, I've been around the game an awful long time now. It's often said that the hockey wives are the true MVPs behind the
Uh,
curtain. Do you think you are one of the most successful people at what you do in the world? Do you think your success is reliance on knowing that you have to have that work-life balance in your life, not just about hockey? You have to know when to turn it off and not bring it home, even when the team's not doing well, that
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, definitely. And I I was able to balance it out more after the birth of my daughter. I feel like um, it was easier. Like when you go home and you see that little face, and then your problem at the rink, our problem at the rink, it's different. And I'm not saying that before she was born I was coming home and I was just like slamming doors, like it's not that. But I'm saying, like, when you have a daughter at home, like, this is your priority at the moment, and you have to take care of that. And your problem at the rink, or you had a bad game, or whatever the reason is, they stay at the rink. And once you're home, you're home. You want to spend a family time, and you want to be 100% there for them. And that's really what I'm trying to do as much as I possibly can.
Talking with Yanni Gourde of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just a couple more minutes here. Interesting question here from Jim Burleson. Burleson writes, he says, after pro sports is full of highs and lows. There's the big moments, and then there's the disappointments in all different facets, in different ways. You're being cut, you're being traded, you're being sent down, you're being waived, whatever. All these obstacles that constantly present themselves over the course of a career. How have you been able to learn from those experiences, the disappointing moments, and use those in your personal life when you needed them?
That's a good question. I mean, there's so many life lessons in hockey, and that I carry on to just normal life. Um, but like, just disappointment, we can talk about, we're in Columbus, so let's talk about the swept we won, the one year we got swept by them. It was so disappointing. But at the same time, it made us better the following year. And that's why we won a Stanley Cup the year after, because we were more ready. We were more, we knew what was going to happen, and we knew what kind of effort we needed to put on to be able to go deeper in the playoff, and to eventually win a Stanley Cup. If we didn't have that setback, probably we would never won that Stanley Cup. So things that you gotta learn, and you gotta learn from your adversity moment, and you gotta and you have to bear down the next year. And whenever another challenge you face another challenge, you have to remember and put what you learned at work.
All right, just a couple more fun hockey questions that come from the Q&A. This one is this one's anonymous here. Sorry if I'm missing the name here, but, oh no, sorry, it's from Timothy Geese. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Tim. He says, is it hard to play against former teammates like Seti Paquette, and do you guys stay in touch at all? He's just like you. You know that you
Yeah,
guys play like this.
yeah. We got some good battles, man, Steady. Yeah. But is it hard? Once I'm on the ice, I'm Yanni Gourde, hockey player. I got no friends out there. No, not really. I mean, I try to play the same way against everyone, and try to play hard to play against every single night against anybody. So, I would say that I'm not. I don't change my game when like like
I've seen you play enough. I got to back that up and attest that as
yeah.
well. Carter Kelly, who says he represents the 10 and under Central Florida Hockey Club. Here you go. Who was your favorite player, past, maybe growing up when you were a kid, and present, other than you or anybody, excluding anybody on the Lightning?
My favorite player was probably Marty St. Louis. Growing up, I loved the way he played, and he was a smaller player, and his heart, he would give it all out there every single night, and it was like he's such an inspirational. He's so great, and I mean, he's definitely up there. And right now, did you say excluded any Lightning player?
It's the guy
Because
you, when
I
you watch games and
because
you go, wow, that's pretty good. He's good.
because I would have to say Andre Palat. I love the way he
Okay.
plays. I love the way he plays. He's such a phenomenal player. He's so skilled, but the one thing about him is he's so strong on the puck. He doesn't lose any one-on-one battles. He's so super strong, and he's got all the tools in his bag. So it's pretty that guy's pretty impressive to watch.
Last question. We'll just sum it up by simply asking you, you've got about, what is it, about 17 games, 18 games we've got left here. How do you feel? I know right now the team's struggling a little bit, but I can say that I know this team is going to get its way out of this funk. It's a very deep team, and as you've said in this webinar chat, it's a very strong group. Having said that, what lessons did you learn in the playoffs last year, winning the Stanley Cup, and going through this season as the defending champs that are going to help you hopefully bring another cup home?
That you never can never be too high, can never be too low. I mean, in the playoff, there's a game that you're gonna lose, and you just gotta come back the next day and just forget about it and just go out there and play another match. And I think this is we're in a situation like this. We're struggling a little bit, but we gotta put it behind us. We gotta go out there and play the best hockey we can at the moment. And I think that's really what the key is in the next following games. It's just go out there, play hard, have some fun, and just play hockey. Don't worry about whatever the rest, and just focus on what on the present.
Next game is tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yanni, I really enjoyed listening to you talk today. I really feel you are an articulate man and have some very good opinions to express here. And I love how you related a lot of your life as a professional athlete to the real world where the rest of us live. And, we don't live in the lofty heights of your elite status as in your career, in your field. Yet there are a lot of similarities, and you've really shared a lot today. And on behalf of everybody listening, I want to say thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yanni Gourde, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, we'll wrap this up. Next Lightning game is tomorrow at 7 if you want to log in, wherever you're looking in from. I'm Dave Brandorf, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah. Awesome.